Welcome to Horror Story Channel.
During our childhood, my cousins and I had a special place called the Bush House at the end of our back garden, right before it opened up onto the heat. Being a wheelchair user from birth, my gran came up with the idea of a bush house instead of a traditional tree house, ensuring that everyone could easily access and enjoy it. Although my cousins and I initially protested because I was still able to climb trees with their help, Gran's decision was final. We never argued with her, as she was a beautiful and loving matriarch, but also someone you didn't want to cross. We began by selecting the perfect bush for our play area. The older boys were assigned the task of clearing the area around the bush and creating a small hollow inside with a wooden floor so my wheelchair could move around safely. Meanwhile, Gran, who was still relatively young at the time, organized us younger ones in gathering furniture, supplies, and accessories to make the space cozy and comfortable. A year later, our bush house was fully utilized. During the daytime, the younger ones, including myself, played there after school, on weekends, and during holidays. In the evenings and nights, the older cousins would use it for privacy away from Gran and Mum's watchful eyes. Our bush house was transformed into a cozy haven. We collected chairs, bean bags, and floor cushions from relatives and friends. We even had a small table with a tablecloth we made, and Auntie J sewed beautiful curtains that we hung up with great care. We had a cupboard stocked with snacks, and with the supervision of the older boys or Mum, we were allowed to use a camping stove to heat up simple meals. Gran's friend Jean even donated a shabby, but beautiful, hand-me-down rug. One summer holiday, in early July, something peculiar happened. I was with my cousin Elle, who was also 7 years old, and my older cousin G, who was 11. G's brother A had been there earlier but had gone out with his friends, planning to return later to cook dinner for all of us on the stove. As Elle and I sat at the table playing cards, we heard an eerie sound that didn't match the peaceful scene. It was a mixture of a growl, an owl's hoot, and a mumbled voice. Although we weren't particularly outdoorsy kids, we recognized that the accompanying sounds didn't come from an owl. Furthermore, we heard furtive rustling from behind the bush house, near where G was sitting. G suddenly jumped up, covering her mouth to stifle a scream. Through the dense foliage, we caught a glimpse of a dark, dog-like figure. It seemed intentionally elusive, almost as if it wanted to hide. What made it even stranger was the absence of other natural sounds. The silence was eerie. In our urban neighborhood, you'd always hear people, cars, and dogs, but at that moment, it felt as though the entire world had paused, leaving only us and the mysterious figure aware of its presence. Feeling unsure of what to do, we huddled together, and G and L took hold of the handles on my wheelchair, carefully guiding me out of the bush house. We never took our eyes off the translucent figure as we moved, seeking safety closer to home. Once we felt out of immediate danger, we gathered and exchanged doubtful glances. We were scared. G instructed us to stay put and not move or speak, then swiftly ran to the garden shed. Climbing up to the decaying roof, she sent me into a panic, and I let out a fearful squeal. Elle promptly covered my mouth, shushing me. Elle and I anxiously watched as G peered over the hedgerow that separated our back garden from the heat. From our vantage point, her troubled expression was clearly visible. After what felt like an eternity, G returned to us, and we eagerly asked her what she had seen. She hesitated before responding, struggling to find the right words to describe her experience. I didn't see anything, no dogs, no other animals, G explained. But I saw a man. I only saw his back as he walked away towards the iron fence. He had really long, scruffy hair. My 7-year-old mind couldn't fully comprehend what G was saying, and a glance at Elle confirmed that she was equally puzzled. We both questioned her simultaneously. What man, G? What did he look like? G sighed, biting her lip, an anxious habit she still has today. I didn't see him properly, just his back. I couldn't make out his face. But his hair was long and messy. Our eyes involuntarily darted toward the end of the garden leading to the public heat. We shuddered, and silence enveloped us for a long time. Eventually, we realized that everything had returned to normal. The familiar sounds of everyday life had resumed. The world seemed to be back in motion. It was a relief to hear the bustling sounds of our surroundings again. Sometime later, A and his 2 friends returned. Sensing our unease, they inquired about what had happened. We recounted the entire incident, and 2 of them ventured out to the back to investigate. They were gone for about 45 minutes. Upon their return, they reassured us that they hadn't seen anything unusual, a strange man or any strange animals. We spent the rest of the day with the boys, enjoying dinner in the bush house and later watching movies while indulging in junk food. We didn't inform Mom about the experience until many years later, long after we had grown up. Even today, we still don't know or understand what truly happened that day.